Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and a little bit late on this one. This actually went up on the 26th, but I thought I'd cover it because it looks like it's possibly coming on tomorrow, because it says there that they are going through it on January the 31st, so maybe this comes live tomorrow. But yeah, a new update 3.5 to do with the War of Nations, and we're basically getting a physics update. It's kind of the same as the PC. In fact, as far as I'm aware, they are more or less the same as the PC, but instead of when you get flipped onto your roof you're dead, you do get self-righted within 10 minutes. But it means, like it says here, go up steeper inclines, over walls and even other tanks, exploring tiny areas of maps that you thought were previously unreachable, which they will be. All vehicles will move and interact with the environment in a more realistic manner. Now, from what I've seen on the PC, it means that when you're actually pushing people, if you are much faster than them and have a bigger engine, they will actually go a lot faster, from what I understand, from when they've tried to jump the bridge on Westfield, that sort of thing, which I don't think we have the hole in the bridge on the console. But yeah, so it looks like you might be able to actually shove people properly. The physics, you will be able to move tanks. So if you're in, say, an E100 and you hit a light tank, you'll be able to really push them about, that sort of thing. But the suspension now fully reacts to the terrain. It looks a lot better. It's a lot more realistic physics, which is what I've been looking forward to personally. But with enough speed you can flip your vehicle, so you're going to have to be careful in light tanks, especially on these winter maps with all the snowbanks. You're going to have to be very, very careful, but you do get self-righted. And the handbrake, finally! We have the handbrake. I was looking forward to the ELC coming to the game with the French tanks a few months back. But then one of the things that made me a bit cautious was the fact that we've got no handbrake. And one of the main things that happens on the PC when you watch people on there is, one of the ways of using it, because it doesn't have a turret, is to speed towards your target. Dodging or whatever, or sneak around them, and then handbrake it, so you do a 180 and you are then aiming at them, because you can't turn your turret, and you can't do that with the LC in it. I found it did limit it. There are people that have still done very well in it, but I sold it, and I thought, do you know what, I'll buy it back if we ever get the handbrake, and it's now coming. So yeah, very, very happy with that. But it says here, sharp turns on tank destroyers and artillery is not enabled. You can still use the handbrake to lock both tracks for quick stops. Now, I don't quite get that. I mean, it says here you can use the handbrake to halt one or both tracks while on the move, allowing for spectacular turns, sharp braking, etc. and U-turns. Now, I don't know how it's going to work. Well, they've added in 2 new control systems for it, so whether one of the options will be to have them on L1 and R1, and then move the radial command button and the auto aim button to something else, I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see how they do it. But if it's for one or both tracks, I think that would be possibly one of the most sensible ways of doing it, really. But we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, we also have new variants. I've put this up, like I say, it went up a few days ago, so I'm a bit late with this, but I know some of you don't bother checking the website. So, I'll put this up for those of you that don't. A lot of you will have already seen all this, but this is for the people that haven't. Yeah, here we go. So we get South Coast in the rain, which I'm assuming may have new areas that are possibly waterlogged, and the terrain will be different, a bit like they did with Karelia, I think it was. No, not Karelia, Comarin. Some of the areas now waterlogged and count as soft terrain, so we'll have to see. And a war version of El Haloof with strategically placed bunkers. So, I mean, that is down in the valley there, and there's a big bunker, so that'll be quite interesting to see the war variant of that. I know a lot of people don't like it because of all the debris and everything else, but I think anything that can make the valley a bit more of a viable option to more tanks will be a benefit to El Haloof, because you've got to admit, El Haloof, I don't know, well, you don't have to admit it, I find it a little boring, because basically what happens is most of the teams go up to the northwest corner, up around A1, that area, A0, sorry, A1, A0. yeah, most of the teams go up there and battle it out on that corner. And basically tank destroyers and some of the sort of weaker, well, not weaker, some of the more support orientated tanks. I was going to say, the ones with the weaker armor, but but yeah, the support tanks, the Panther 88s, that sort of thing, would line up against the ridge. Maybe a light tank and drop down as the Valiant spot, and that'd be it. And hopefully this will make it a bit more varied in the actual gameplay. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Also, it says here that updater maps, so Siegfried Line War, Mines and Province, the older HD art on these maps has been replaced. Now, I remember when the new physics came to PC and everybody was on Mines, and you can actually climb up the mountains that surround that level now, that are on the edge of the level. You might need a bit of a shove from another tank, but you can now do that. That's what these updated physics allow you to do, so that is really good. And finally, we have the updated tactical map. This is looking like an absolutely brilliant update, I must admit. So we've updated the minimap, overview, square and circle minimaps. So that's all three. So when you press the map button and bring up your team list, that's updated. The square minimap, the one that I use, and also what I would call the compass, which is the circle minimap. Yeah, they've all now got vehicle information on there, which is brilliant. So you've got your gun direction, which is number 3 there, that line. You have, let's have a look, view range, detectability range, so the range at which you could be detected, and a 50-meter auto detect circle. So some of these you can't see very well on here, but we'll have to see. View range, detectability range and gun direction lines are dynamic and will reflect the current values after all factors are calculated, i.e. equipment, consumables, ammunition, camouflage and active crew skills and perks. So that is fantastic. It's not the stock values, it is dynamic, so whatever you've got on your tank will affect these view ranges. Fantastic, it's about time. I know they've been struggling with the resolution, which is possibly why we have them as dotted lines, but yeah, that's really good. So let's see if I can get it. I don't think I can expand that picture very much, but if you do want to have a look, I will put a link in the description to the website. So number 1, which is the small dotted circle, you can just see there, that's your 50-meter auto detect line. Number 2 is your detectability range, so that is calculated based on your vehicle's visibility. Enemies within the circle have a chance of detecting you. Environmental effects such as bushes and trees are not reflected in the circle, as they are directional bonuses and not overall. 3, like I said, gun direction line, which I think is already on there anyway, so fair enough. And oh, I can just see it. I was struggling to see that. You can just see very faintly a lighter cone, so that's how they've done it. You can just see there, very light. There's the edge of it, look, goes up to the tank. There's the other edge, and then it sort of sweeps down that way. Now that is your view range cone. It is your view angle and range, which is controlled by the camera. The end of the cone is your maximum view range. Note that the cone adjusts if you switch from normal view to sniper view, and expands if you have a binocular telescope mounted. So I'm assuming if you're in sniper view, the edges of the cone will close in and it will become shallower, not as wide an angle. And obviously that will be the external view, which is the wider angle, because you can see much more. And when your binocular telescopes come into effect, that will extend. And obviously if you've already got coated optics on, it'll just be bigger anyway. Tank gallery view. So basically press and hold LT and L2. That can't be right. LT and L2. It must be L1 and L2. Or left bumper and I don't know, press and hold L2. Oh, unless that's left trigger / L2. So yeah, it could be that. Xbox, PlayStation. Yeah, I think that's it. Sorry about that, guys. I've got a bit brain fart there. You'll get a clean look at your tank without the garage hood, so that's really good. It'll make my life easier when I'm trying to find the pictures for the thumbnails. Some of these tanks, there just don't seem to be any images about it. So there we are. And tank gallery view also works in armor and component view, so that's really good. These are just the update notes. Again, I'll put this up here. Put the link in the description so that you can actually have a look yourself. But server-side physics, handbrake. That's where it says about the 2 control modes, or the 2 new control modes. Radar minimap upgrade, stationary camera support for spectators. Proving ground and tutorial missions now have ammo pickups. Vehicle gallery view. Oh, there's a lot of vehicle balances as well. 108 vehicles have been updated to HD collision models, which apparently has resulted in some, what did it say, cosmetic issues. So they are being fixed as quickly as possible and will be in the next update. Please see known issues list for details, and please report any new issues you may find. We appreciate your patience. So there will be a few cosmetic issues. We've just got to be patient for the update after this one. Added HDR calibration screen, only available to HDR enabled consoles. Maps, we've covered those. Mines updated with new HDR, province updated with new HDR. Additional features. Here we are, a few others. So there's rebalances on some of the maps. Yeah, team destruction mode moved, move base spawn, improvements made to the new player, blah blah blah. Remove prop tank gun collision, reduced brick piles around buildings, removed objects in debris piles, adjusted fighter plane audio, user interface, added premium supplies text in gold, added consumable equip max. Okay, changed the platoon creation disband flow, a few updated effects as well, muzzle flash, compass minimap scale, so that is the small circle one, adjusted to 445 meters. Okay, that, if I remember rightly, that is the basically the sweet spot, the sort of magic number for how far away, the maximum distance you could actually spot a tank. That could be render range, maybe. I'm not entirely sure whether the render range and the maximum spotting distance comes into it, but that does seem familiar from that. Oh, armor viewer improvements to colorblind option. So maybe now with me having the colorblind option on, I get different colors to people who don't on the armor viewer. I've not really noticed that. I might have to have a look. Added camera shake to artillery explosions. So yeah, just little improvements here and there. New platoon icon, added platoon creation cooldown animation, improved kill feed, and then various bug fixes as well. Water no longer goes the opposite direction of the wind. Green thumb image fixed. Mud flaps are no longer wiggly bits. Okay. Exhaust destruction fixed. Proving grounds. Okay, so let's have a look. Yeah, just viewports are now displayed in the module view when looking at the crew components. Okay, so yeah, we've got various bug fixes, that sort of thing. Store days left banner fixed. So yeah, various corrected colour for gold cost. So yeah, there's a lot of bug fixes. I've not really seen that many. Vehicle fixes, the hidden stug fixes side armor collision. Sorry. Blitzen lights now removed when destroyed. So yeah, we've fixed destroyed state, fixed frying animation. So yeah, there are various things. Type 4 heavy removed tarps from rear deck. Freedom moved emblem inscription again. Fixed the camo cost on the AMX chaffee. I wonder if I get some of that back because I've already paid for that. STA2 urban camo and sniper camera fix. So yeah, there's a few fixes. Updated tank names. So the Panzer 3 is now the Panzer 3J. Tiger to Tiger 1. Tiger P to just Tiger P. So yeah, there's a few fixes, various things. So, and again, more fixes. So yeah, there's all those, lots of little bug fixes. However, there are also some nerfs and some buffs. So let's have a quick look at the vehicle changes. When it loads up, there we go. Some of these are very, very nice. Right, the 122mm round Type 68 will not mean much to you. However, it's on certain vehicles. The damage has now gone from 465 to 530. Now, the WZ11114, I don't think gets that gun. Unless that's the upper damage limit on the standard 122mm, which is the stock gun. It could be. But if that is the case, if that's the upper limit of it, then maybe the average damage will go up from 390, but we'll have to wait and see because I'm not entirely sure what that one is. But anyway, it affects the WZ11114, the T34-3 and the black version, the 112, the IS-2, the 110 and the T34-2. So that 122mm gun is an option on the T34-2. The IS-2, well, it's the gun that it gets on the IS-2. So, yeah, it might be that the damage has been increased. So, it could be that the average damage goes up on that 122mm, but only on those vehicles. NC31, which is a French one, is it? Yeah, let's have a look. Oh, no, this is China. So, these are the Chinese vehicles. So, these are some of the low ones. The Vickers Mark E Type B. Removed certain flags, guns, etc. Changed some of the packages have been changed around. The WZ131 has had its shot dispersion buffed. No, shot dispersion during turret rotation has been buffed. After shot dispersion has been nerfed, I think it is, and so has the damaged part, the T34-2. Aim time buff on the 122mm gun. Depression has been buffed to 5 instead of 3 degrees. On the 100mm gun, the aim time has been improved. The T34-3 and Black Edition has had its gun depression improved from 3 to 5 degrees, or -3 to -5. The 121, the Tier 10, has had its terrain resistances improved. It's had its gun depression improved by 0.5 mm. Wow. Sorry, that's just... yeah. The 113, the Tier 10, it's not got the gun buff that people have been wanting, but terrain resistances, shot dispersion has been buffed slightly, gun depression has. France, the 155mm heat rounds have been nerfed slightly, which is on the Foch 155. Various other ones, I'll try and pick out some of the major ones, but there are a lot, and again you'll be able to actually have a look yourself as well. Some of them were pretty major. Where was it? UEFAR, AMX, no, the 12T terrain resistances improved, shot dispersion improved. 1375 has had a buff to chassis rotation, shot dispersion. Yeah, so's the 1390, that's had shot dispersion improvements, and the Lorraine has had an aim time improvement. The Batchat has had aim time improvements. Germany, the 88mm Panzer 39 round, so that's the short 88 as far as I understand it, has had a penetration buff from 132 to 145, so that's really good news, although it doesn't seem to be on all vehicles. The Panzer 4C, which is the Death Toaster possibly, the Tiger 1, the 360H, the 3002D, the 3001P, the Tiger P, the 45028, Indian Panzer, Jagdpanzer 4, Jagdpanther, and the Nashorn all get an increase from 132 to 145 pen with the short 88. Really nice. That probably comes after the Tiger 131 buff to 149, which kind of detracts from that gun on the Panther 131 and doesn't make it quite as special now, but hey ho, you know, it is what it is. Let's have a look. There's some others. I'm just sort of skipping through for the main ones. Gun depression. Oh, the 3001H, the tier 5, is it? I think so. Gun depression improved from -7 to -10 with the L60, the 50mm. The 75mm goes up 2 degrees from -6, well, goes down if you will, -6 to -8. Various, again, terrain resistance changes, some good, some bad. That's a good one. The Stura Emil has had its a very, very small buff to its concealment. Jagdpanther has had terrain resistances, well, worsened ever so slightly. The Panther M10 has had a slight increase to the side armour of the turret. Now, this is where some of the main differences are. Tank destroyers. The Rheinmetall Borsig Waffenträger view range decreased by 40 meters. That's going to upset a lot of people. The Jagdtiger 88 has had a 10 km/h top speed increase. Really surprising. pleasant surprise. You know, can't grumble. The Kanonen Jagdpanzer has had a reload time made better, which is probably as an effort to try and get more people to buy it, because as far as I've not heard many good things about it. There you go. Which is why I've not got one just yet. The Ferdinand, aim time improvement, Tiger 2, accuracy improvement on the short 105 and the long 105. Very, very welcome. This was a big one. Very surprised. The E75 has had 2-degree improvement on its gun depression up to 8 degrees. And 3 degrees on the 105 L68. So yeah, that's a bit of a nice thing, isn't it, for the E75 owners? They'll be very, very happy with that one. Improvements to the Leopard PTA. The GW E100 has had a massive buff to concealment. That's huge, from 0.14 to 0.48, and that is, you know, it's still not outstanding, but that is quite a large improvement on that one. Jagdpanzer E100 has had a 10-meter view range nerf. Waffenträger E100 has had a 40-meter view range nerf down to 380. Japan, the 90mm armor piercing round has been improved penetration-wise from 186 to 212. That's on the STA-1. It's not the top gun on the STA-1, it's the one down from it, but it is the gun on the STA-2 and the STA Black. So yeah, now from 186 to 212, and it's still, as far as I'm aware, gets preferential matchmaking. Big improvement there. And I think they're the main ones. Oh no, they're not the main ones. I've just remembered some of the others. Aftershot dispersion has been improved on that 90mm rifle gun for the STA-2 and Black version. USA, here we go. There's a couple down here that were surprising and very, very pleasant, actually. Chaffee has had some buffs to its concealment. T67 has had some nerfs to its view range. T37 has had a bit of love and had some improvements to its concealment. The Hellcat has had its terrain resistances nerfed. The M6 has had some slight improvements to its concealment. It's had its view range buffed as well on the M6. The T28 prototype can now mount vents even though it's open, and the M56 Scorpion has now had a reverse speed buff, which is very, very welcome. That was one of my problems with it, actually. The Patton, the M46 Patton, has had shot dispersion buff. The T110E3 has been nerfed on its concealment, is that? Yeah. And buffed on its shot dispersion, and turret rotation speed has been nerfed down to well, that's a bit of a bugger for some people. T110E4 has had a bit of a nerf. Let's have a look. There was one, and I can't think what it was. Oh, it was the T54E1. I think I've missed it as getting... Yeah, the HD models. Some of them have had buffs. Let's have a look. I'm trying to keep it down a little bit. We're up to 23 minutes. Christ, that's very long. So yeah, let's try and get down. Some of the Russian stuff has had buffs and nerfs as well. Shot dispersion, KV4. Okay. Object 704, T10. That's had some nerf buffs. Yeah, buffs. Cool. Here we are, updated HD collision modules. This is where we want to begin interesting. T1 Heavy getting an armor buff on its frontal armor. T29 is getting a... Well, no, ignore that. That's not one. T1 Heavy getting a buff to its frontal armor, nerf to its side armor, buff to its rear, and the turret armor is getting buffs and nerfs. So buff at the front, nerf on the side. T67, big nerfs to the armor there. T54E1, a big buff to the frontal armor, up from 110 to 152 for the frontal hull armor. Fantastic. That is really good. United Kingdom the Death Star is getting a buff to its side armor of the turret, but a nerf to the rear. Burt is getting another nerf. Look at that, from 25 all round down to 14. That's shocking, actually. Centurion 1. Let's have a look. China WZ131 getting nerf on its hull armor. Yeah, turret armor. The 113, it's the gun we need, but that's getting a hull armor buff to the side. It's getting a huge turret buff as well to the armor. That's quite a big thing, that. The T127 has had a couple of buffs. Let's have a look. There was a couple of shocking ones down here, actually, where the Gorinich and the KV5. Turret armor is being buffed from 150 and 140 sides and rear to 180. That's a massive difference, and I wonder if that frontal weak spot's getting that buff as well. IS-3 turret nerfed massively on the side there. Wow. Yeah, there's some big differences in here. Germany, we've got a few, not many, but there's a few, so yeah, there we go. Sorry for the massive length of this video, but I just had to go through some of these buffs and nerfs, but like I say, you will be able to have a look for yourself, because I'll put the link in the description. So there you go, bit of a news update. Yeah, some big changes coming, the physics, a lot of these buffs. Yeah, there was some of those armor buffs and nerfs. Some of the surprising, some are very welcome. Some of the gun buffs and nerfs, etc. as well. Again, some are quite surprising, some are very welcome. I would like the 113 to receive the love and attention that it's had to its gun on the PC, so I don't know, we'll wait and see. But anyway, I'll be back with another video in a little bit, so until then, take care, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.